welcome back. If you've been following this adventure so far, you'll know we're over halfway round on our journey. We're heading south now, and this episode should see us going through the Harecastle Tunnel, something I was looking forward to. But between where we were and there lies Heartbreak Hill, a series of locks over a relatively short distance. Today we plan to tackle about 20 of them. Let's see how we get on. But before we tackle the first lock of the day, we stopped at this handy facilities point at Wheelock to fill up the water and to get rid of the rubbish. An interesting feature of these locks is the little splits in the small bridges. This was so that the ropes could stay attached and be passed through as they pulled the boats into the locks themselves. With the locks being so deep, some caution was needed when opening the paddles. Locks are great places to meet people and chat, and social distancing isn't a problem. 20 locks later and we neared the moorings at Church Loughton. It's a nice little spot, still out in the country and possibly one of the last places to stop before things get a bit more built up. For much of the day we'd found ourselves trading places with Cheshire Star and the locks, so it was lovely in the evening to be able to sit and have a glass with Dave and Pauline, all socially distanced of course. We were only a couple of miles from the Harecastle Tunnel, so we decided to get a nice early start through the couple of locks and have breakfast there to give us a chance to have a little look around before we went through. You pass another very handy facilities point here at Kidsgrove. I love the way they've repurposed an old wharf for modern times. So we've arrived at the Harecastle Tunnel, just behind me there. We're just waiting to go through it on the 10 o'clock entry. It's quite a long way in the tunnel. It takes about half an hour, 40 minutes. So we're just getting the boat all ready. The boats are starting to gather to go through. There's a briefing at 9:30. Let's see how we get on with that. So you might better hear in the background the sound of the engines of the boats coming out through the tunnel. You can hear them for miles back down there, you know, although when you look down there they're still quite a long way out there. It's the sound of the engines reverberating through the tunnel itself. And then, promptly at 10 o'clock, it was our turn to enter the tunnel. I have to be honest, with all the preparations and excitement, it wasn't the most elegant of tunnel entries that I've ever managed. The tunnel we use today is the Telford Tunnel. It was completed in about 1827. Originally it had a towpath down the side, and that makes the entry and exit quite uneven. It's also been subject to quite a lot of landslips over the time, and it gets very, very low in places. Originally there were a couple of spur arms off here that actually went into the Golden Hill coal mine and provided an easy way for people to get small coal barges in and out of the area. Just as you exit here, you can see what remains of the towpath that used to run the whole length of the tunnel. It's quite a relief coming back out into the daylight, and while it's a lot of fun, it's very, very tight, and so I for one was quite glad to be out the other side and back into the warm day. There are a lot of boats outside queuing to go in the other direction, presumably waiting for the 11 o'clock passage. We moored up at Westport Lakes. It's a beautiful little spot, and as the name suggests, has a lovely lake. There's a little walk from here into the town. We had some shopping to get, but we did spend the afternoon wandering around the lake and looking at the local residents. I was really amazed at just how tame these swans were. Normally swans with young are a bit more defensive, but these guys were totally relaxed. Well, it is hammering down with rain this morning. It's a little bit on the chilly side. We need some water, so we've got to move anyway. We're running a little bit low on the water bottles. I've got some rubbish aboard, but I want to get to Barston today, which is only about 8 miles away and maybe 6 locks. So I'm going to get the boat underway. I'm going to endure the rain and get ourselves down there. Periodically you get a glimpse of these bottle-shaped kilns used to fire pottery. There's a few more here on the right, now nestling inside a bit of a commercial and residential area. This is one of the lovely things I think that's fascinating about the canals. We approach this lock here, and clearly at some point the railway has got really close to the canal. The two sort of mesh together with overlapping pieces and cutouts just to get them to fit. It wasn't too long before we started to leave the urban environment of Stoke-on-Trent behind and head back out into the country. Just past the Wedgwood Pottery Works is the little town of Balston, and we found a mooring there. Shortly after we moored up, we spied this heron in the shallows in the opposite bank. He was hunting for his tea, and it was really fascinating and quite a privilege to watch him while he went about his business. Well, that's about all we've got time for this time. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. In the next episode, we actually have a day where we don't move at all. Very unusual for us. You'll have to watch to find out why. We also then continue our journey south and answer the question, just how far can a narrowboat go in one day? Until then, stay safe and thank you for watching.